Hey guys, how's it going? It's Rustabout Collector here, back for, I guess what this would be like part 3 of the G.I. Joe review section videos that I'm doing. I don't know, I'll probably build a playlist of these just so that people can find them easier. But today we're taking a look at the G.I. Joe Classified Series 6-inch Scarlet action figure. This is a pretty awesome figure, and it's also got some pretty awesome box art, which I've been saying in every video because each one of these is just absolutely fantastic for a G.I. Joe figure. We will go over that first before breaking into the box and taking a look at the figure. But first off, you have this nice artwork here of Scarlet in what appears to be this armor. So this is new artwork. They're not like reusing the old comic book artwork or anything, although I wouldn't complain if they did. On the side, you have a very comic booky looking pose where she's running into action, parachuting, and like stealthing into a place, like kind of a ghillie suit, also learning karate. That's pretty cool, just kind of showing off some of the different attributes that she has in the comics. She's a very skilled warrior. On the back, again, same artwork, still really awesome to look at. I love all these characters mashed up together. It just looks, ooh, it looks so good, so classic. On this side, we have these emblems again, as well as number 5. This is number 5 in this series, wave 1, I guess. I guess this kind of shows like attributes, maybe. Like, she's an archer, she has martial arts skills, she doesn't file paperwork. I don't know what these symbols mean. But anyways, there's the picture window. She comes with a bunch of knives, a crossbow, and the figure looks really awesome. So let's break this packaging open and take a look at the figure. And there we have it all out of the packaging. Looks really awesome, but we'll set that aside for just a second while we take a look at the accessories. So first up, she comes with a bunch of combat knives. I think these two are the same, and then she has one that's a little bit shorter and not serrated. Let's see if I can get that to focus. There we go. So you've got these two, and then this shorter one here. I'm not sure where those will attach. It looks like maybe, I don't know. I mean, one can go here, but I don't know where the other two would go. Maybe they go just in her hands, or I don't know. We'll take a look at that in a second. But then also, in 2 pieces, you get the crossbow, which I wasn't expecting this to be in 2 pieces. But you have the bottom here, which kind of looks like a stormtrooper blaster. And you have the top, and those will slot together just like that. And then you have the hand crossbow. The crossbow looks really cool. You've kind of got the same thing that was on Duke's weapon, the EOTech scope with a magnifier or something of that equivalent. And yeah, really nice sculpt, very simple, no paint apps, but it looks cool nonetheless. Then again, these knives, I don't know where they're going to go, but I'm assuming this one, since it's smaller and like more rounded, that one probably goes right there. Yep, and then the rest, I don't know. I found where the other 2 knives go. So there's these little slots up here on the top of her quiver. We just put them in, let's see, I think they go in like this, maybe. Oops, don't want to bend them and break them. It's a very tight fit, so they're not going to go in very easily, but that also means they're not going to fall out either, which is always nice. There we go. Okay, so they go in there like that. Then she holds the crossbow. I initially thought that the crossbow might go into the backpack or something, like it would break down and kind of, you know, slot in somewhere, but it does not. So that was my confusion and my mistake, but that's how that goes right there. And then she'll hold the crossbow in her hand. Once again, I have to commend Hasbro for designing it so that the characters can hold all of their accessories and none of them are just loose and left over to lay in the dirt or get lost. So she has everything on her person at all times. The crossbow, the knives, the arrows, everything. Now, as we're about to take a look at the figure, like the paint apps and everything, there's kind of a cool, unique little thing, and that is, I have the original version of this figure. This is one of the few that I actually still have, and I think this is like version 2 Scarlet. I think version 1 had fixed elbows, and this one has swivels at the elbows. The joints are very old on this, and I'm kind of afraid of moving them because they're tight, which is good, but that also means that they could shatter since the plastic is so old. But this is the original Scarlet, and this is what we have now in 2020 terms. And yeah, I'd say overall they did a pretty good job kind of transitioning this very simple design to a more modern aesthetic. They've captured the tannish color into a yellow. They've kept the red marking here on her shoulder, if you can see that. Obviously the red hair. I think in later iterations they did give her a ponytail, but just for the time, you know, this is what they were giving her for her hair. And in the comic books, I think she had a ponytail. Then you also can see here the throwing stars on her wrist are the same, or, you know, at least they're paying homage to the original here. Nothing on this wrist, and then a pouch down here, which I think is probably meant to be, you know, like this pouch here now. And then, you know, just general utility items on the belt and everything, as well as a knife here on the leg, which doesn't transition to the new figure, but they did give her knives everywhere else, so I guess it works. And then, of course, she does have her crossbow, which is, you know, there's nothing to really say about that. She has a crossbow in both versions. So it's really cool that they kind of paid homage to that version 1 release. I hope they go back and maybe do different variations, because you have a lot of material to pull from. Different figures have different versions that came out throughout the years, and so you could do a lot with, you know, a couple years they could release the Scarlet version 3 or something like that. But it's nice to see that they've paid homage to this original figure in this modern release. So yeah, the paint apps on this figure are really crisp, really nice. You have the red there, like I mentioned before, with the little blue dot, kind of like Duke has. Maybe that's like a G.I. Joe tracking unit, I don't know. The gold and the yellow sets off really nice against the more purple undersuit, as well as the gray here. She's got a shoulder pad with a star on it, which kind of, that's sort of Russian, but, you know, it's Captain America maybe too, I don't know. You got yellow, gold on the armbands as well. Overall, the paint apps are just really good. I mean, if you go down to the leg armor, you've got all this amazing sculpt, but it's also painted really nicely. Little red markings, little blue stripes, yellow armor with gold accents. It's just really, really cool. They've done an excellent job both with designing this and also just the paint as well. And I wasn't sure that I'd be totally sold on this futuristic sci-fi translation of the G.I. Joe. I mean, I'm very much used to this type of G.I. Joe where they are more tactical, I guess you could say. They're not so sci-fi, they're more tactical. And to see this in hand, I think they did a good job. I'm pleased with this. I try to be critical with my reviews, but I'm inclined to only buy figures that I think I will like, so that's why you don't see very many negative reviews on my channel. They're mostly positive because I'm only really particular about which figures I buy. But yeah, I really don't have anything to complain about this figure overall. I mean, I'm sure there's like purist collectors out there that are like, these are an abomination. G.I. Joe should only be in 3 3/4 inch, and they should only be in classic colors. There shouldn't be this red, purple, red, yellow, blue. This is perfect. I mean, you have to think about this as a toy. There's toys, and you want kids to enjoy them. I would love for kids nowadays to get back into G.I. Joe and for them to be releasing more, and so what better way than to release it in a scale that fits with their Marvel Legends and it fits with other characters that they might have. I mean, would I prefer it in 3 3/4 inch? Yeah. But is it okay in 6 inch? Also, yeah. It is what it is. It's cool. I like it. But yeah, overall, really great paint apps on the leg armor, on all the accessories like the belt and the red here on the knife scabbard, on the armbands. It's really, really cool. I like it. They even went to the trouble of painting the fletching on the arrows a nice red color. Something of note too, which I really didn't mention with Duke, but I should have, the face sculpting is really nice. It's not based on an actual character, so they're not using their face printing tech, but even so, it is really, really nicely done. They've got good eyes painted in there, freckles, red hair, highlights, all that kind of stuff. It's incredible to think that, you know, we've gone from this to what my camera is saying is a real face. It's quite interesting. And I should note, this piece falls off a lot. It keeps falling off as I move the character around. I will probably glue it in place just with a little dab of super glue. But anyways, let's talk about the articulation on this figure. At the head, once again, we have a ball joint with a hinge, so you can hinge it up, you can hinge it down. You've got a full range of motion, and also because of the narrowness of the neck, you have lots of side-to-side motion, which is good. The shoulders on this figure are butterflied slightly, but I really have a hard time getting it to move. I don't know if it just needs broken in or if it really is that difficult to move because of the sculpt, but there are butterflies in there, as well as a hinge and a swivel. impeded a little bit by the armor, but not too bad. Over here you get much fuller range of motion. The elbows are single jointed, so you get to about 90, which is okay. It works for what it is. Then a hinge and a swivel at the wrist, which is nice. This one is an in and out wrist, and this one is a up and down. I don't want to snap that peg, but yeah, up and down. Very nice. Now for the waist, you have kind of like a double ball joint system going. So there's a ball joint up at the top, which gives you a good range of motion, and then there's a slightly less mobile one down at the bottom, which gives you the waist swivel. And you know, it's nice for like a martial arts character. It's good to have that much articulation. You know, it's good for posing and getting more dynamic action scenes going, especially, you know, toy photography. It's perfect for that. And then for the hips, again, it's got the, I don't know what you want to call these joints, but they're cool. They kind of drop down, so it gives you more range to bring up for like a seated position, or even for like, you know, a kickboxing position. It's really cool. It's more of a high-end thing that I've only ever seen on Bandai kits and like SH Figuarts. So it's nice to see that in a mainline Hasbro figure. I hope they incorporate it into like Star Wars figures as well. We'll have to wait and see with like the latest wave of figures that are coming out, if they've upgraded all the characters' hips with that, or if it's just G.I. Joe. Then you have your typical thigh swivel, double jointed knees, which takes it all the way around there. And then there's a swivel here at the top of the boot. It's, you know, good for dynamic posing, and I don't know, it's not the most useful point of articulation, but it is there. And then there's a hinge and a rocker at the foot, so you can, you know, swing that around like so. And yeah, that's all there is to be said about the articulation. It's really nice. It's pretty standard for all these G.I. Joe figures. They've pretty much all had a really nice range of articulation, and it's very much a, I don't know, it's highly posable. The whole wave is a very highly posable line. You can get a lot of dynamic poses. They're great for toy photography, I feel like, and you know, overall you could even just have these on your desk or on a shelf and they will look really awesome. It's really crazy to think about how, you know, in 1983 they came out with this, and then, you know, 30 years later or so they came out with this figure, and just look at the difference of articulation, the upgrades they've made. It's really fascinating to take a look at that, but at the same time they've gone back and they've really kind of tried to keep some of the elements of this figure alive in the most recent version, and I really, really appreciate that. I think that looks fantastic. But anyways, guys, that's where I'm going to wrap up this review. Thanks for watching. As always, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do those things if you feel so inclined. Down in the description, there's a link to my social media. You can find me there on Instagram, on Facebook. I have a Teespring page. There's also an address down there that is to my P.O. box. If anything comes into that, I'll do like an unboxing or a reading if it's like a letter, you know, on my channel for that. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I will be sure to catch you all in the next video.